All right. Okay, it's recording. So let's get this thing underway. Introduce yourself. Who is Anime Ink Art I'm talking to here?
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Collins from AnimeInkArt. That's my anime-inspired art brand that I created in 2021. So I draw everything by hand, I ink it, and then I digitally edit it. So the brand has extended a little bit. So I do support the blurred community. That's part of the mission statement. So we have our show called AnimeInkArt Live Talks, where we talk with different creators in the community about their journey in content creation, how we can support each other better in the community. I also cosplay as well for the brand and with others in the community. And yeah, that's what I do for the most part.
Okay, and it looks like you had been through a lot. I mean, you started in 2021, right? That's
Yeah.
almost 5 years now.
Yeah.
So you've been doing it for a lot of time. I can tell, it's something that you like doing, and so. But let's go into it because you'll be able to tell me all about it. So section one, anime and creative roots. What first sparked your love for anime, and how did it evolve into a full-fledged art brand?
So I've been watching anime since I was about 8 years old. Pokemon before I thought it was Pokemon, and ever since then I've been obsessed with it. I learned more about like anime as a genre in 2005. I had cousins that watched it, and they kind of told me like, "Oh, this is anime," and I searched up Pokemon, and I realized so that started like the quest to find other animes to watch. And my first manga was Tokyo Mew Mew. So from there, I've always been watching this since 2005, back to the OG Toonami days when it was during like the early night block, before they changed it and everything. And that was kind of carried through, I it was a mixed bag growing up with that. I got teased for it a little bit in 8th grade, but then I just something came over me in high school and I was just like, I really do like this, and not nobody can really tell me not to watch it. I was already too invested at that point, and over time, people were like, "Okay, she likes anime. We can't really do anything about it." So like they kind of left me alone for the most part. Like I would still get it a little bit, but fast forward to when I started Anime Inkart, it's just that around I think the 4th grade or 3rd grade, that's when I started learning how to draw more. And because I was already watching anime, I would draw a lot of like anime related characters and like fan art, and that's how I started. So I started drawing in black and white actually. Like my favorite thing was to do like shading, like almost like the magna panels. And
Okay.
people would ask me back then, but at the time I was like, am I doing it because they're asking or because I wanted to do it? So I didn't really do it at that time in high school. But fast forward to, most people say like the pandemic, around 2021, I had like a list of goals. One of those goals was to start selling my artwork. I didn't know where to start at first. So I had like All Might from My Hero Academia. I had a black and
Yeah.
white version. So I offered to like sell that, but then I was just like, maybe that's not enough. So I was trying to find like a platform to start selling. So I chose Redbubble, and then from there I wasn't on social media as much. I would only post on Instagram for like Inktober's, and I would draw
Yeah.
and post it and then leave. But I said, okay, I have to actually be present. So then here I am, came on Instagram, and the rest was history from there. I just learned as I went just to try to see where to go and where to take everything.
Wow, that's a really nice story. I know every anime person has a backstory about how they got into this sort of thing. Listen, the first time I was into animation was probably maybe 2009, because my first anime was Dragon Ball Z Kai, well, which was Dragon Ball, and then
Yeah.
afterwards it just expanded. Because, well, listen, when I was a kid, when I was sometimes at night I watched my dad. I watched Batman the animated series. It's still animated stuff. I was mostly like, oh, hey, I like animated series. I like Superman. I like Batman. But then it evolved like in 2006. Oh, like when I watched like Sonic the Hedgehog, like Sonic X, that's another Japanese anime stuff. I know I kept saying like Dragon Ball was in 2009, but I think truly Sonic X was like more like 2006 because I watched it for real. I watched it nonstop. But that's when I understand, hey, I love this stuff. I would like to learn more about it. Then we get to like a few years later in 2024, Akira Toriyama passed away, and I remember back then, oh my god, 2009 is when I actually started Dragon Ball, my first Dragon Ball journey, and that broke my heart because every time when I come home from elementary school, I would go on and turn on the TV and see it and the action and everything. And yes, Toonami was my after school vibe too. So listen, I was bullied in middle school because they said I was a nerd, but I was like, I don't care if you like bully me or
Yeah.
like call me a nerd. That's why I like this stuff. If you got a problem with it, don't keep it moving.
Exactly.
Like I don't want your opinions. I don't want your hatred towards me. I like what I like, and I've been wearing a lot of, and I do be getting a lot of T-shirts. As you see, I'm wearing my Adventures with Superman shirt right now. They need to come out with season three. Where's season three coming out? I need to know. So I might binge watch the first and second season, but they said it's in post production. Okay,
Mm.
where's the release date? I need to
That's a
know.
good question.
So I want to see what happened after they defeated Brainiac. So, but yeah, every time when something comes out, if I like something, I'll go to Hot Topic and get a T-shirt so I can wear it. Because last month when I went to go see the Fantastic Four, I got me a Fantastic Four T-shirt for the movie.
Oh, I
So,
see.
hey, hey, I'm a fanboy here. I like these things. So,
Nothing wrong with it.
so, but yeah, everyone has their way of doing their own things, like doing their stories. I know you like doing art a lot, so this seems like this is something you want to connect with people. I did meet another artist. Her name is Amanji Joe. She
Okay.
actually been getting a lot of stuff signed by the voice actors on her art from the shows that they've been voicing in. So I met her for like a few years. I know her for like a couple of years now. She's been going to like cons in Florida, stuff in Atlanta. She's actually going to be in Anime Week in Atlanta this Christmas. I'm going to be there myself because I'm also meeting a person that I've interviewed previously, Shark Cosplay. She said she has an opportunity for me to be like part of their brand or like promote something. So I was like, sure, I look forward to it. Just let me know.
That's
So
awesome. It's
it's
awesome when you can get to meet those people.
Yeah, I think the more that you put yourself out there, like you've been doing, you got more people checking you out. I know you have a few. I don't know if you have. I think you have a few voice actors or other influencers who are checking you out as well. You know, I just kind of figured, well, hey, well, shoot, oh, these people are finding their own way. Let me think about what I did in college. Like, what else can I do? I mean, I've done 3 documentaries. I like talking to people, interviewing. So that's why I came out with this. And next week, I actually have my first voice actor.
That's amazing. I'm proud
It's
of you.
Yeah, those S tier on voice actors gonna be kind of hard to get because they've been voiced for years. But anything's possible, right?
Yeah.
So you just can't get up. All right, sorry if I'm rambling too much. I just
You're
so your design have a bold and unique style. What influences your visual choices?
Honestly, for me, it's like whatever inspires me at that moment. Honestly, like a certain anime I watched or a character or just like a particular idea. Like for example, because I have the art wall right there, that one right here. It was like a Starfire inspired character because I wanted to like, create an original character, but that had her influence, and that's kind of like where that came to be. Now the
Right.
style, I would say, came by accident, kind of like now how the art style is for anime ink art. Because for me, I'm a traditional artist, but sometimes when you're a traditional artist, you've been doing it for many years, like over 10, 13 years. Sometimes that hurdle to digital is very daunting. But to put it on merchandise, I wanted it to be more colorful. I didn't want it to just be in black and white. So over the years, I've been learning how to just do like the traditional art, but then digitally edit it to make it look like it's digital art, but it's more so like a mixed media. And that's kind of like where the style came to be. So I've been like just perfecting like the traditional art side. And then as of recently, making sure that the quality is good because sometimes when you're dealing with like traditional art, like when you're scanning it, you might
Yeah,
lose some of the details. So I've just been working on that. And that's kind of how like the style came. And in terms of the colors, I've been trying my best with that. I've been learning as I go because I wasn't a color artist at first, but it's been fun experimenting and learning how to improve on everything. So that's kind of like where it comes from the inspiration. So any anime, any cartoon, and then when it comes to the original characters, certain celebrations that we have in the community, like I have my two Black Fae original characters because I always wanted to draw like fairy characters, and I
Yeah.
know that Black Fae Day is like important in the community, and I also have like a Juneteenth celebration one because I wanted to draw an original character from that. So sometimes I just whatever moves me in that moment. That's kind of what inspires the art that I do.
Well, I think as long and also as long as you're also like watching the stuff, because I know there's a lot of cosplayers and artists and any other like kind of like stuff that also they do a lot if they keep watching the shows. That's what I believe. If they just keep watching the stuff, they can take, okay, I could take this part and I can take it over here and try to transform into something new.
Yeah.
Basically, they want to make it feel like it's their very own version.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've seen with some of these cosplayers, these artists, hairstylists, anyone who's doing this kind of stuff, because they know that if they just keep watching, they do take, and sometimes they take notes. Maybe they have to like take notes on like, hey, this is what they did when they designed this character. Maybe I could do something similar for other people to check out at a later time.
Yeah, I kind of do the same, like with the anime. What, like, especially like for the art, and when we get into like the cosplay or anything. But with the art, sometimes I'll do designs just based on me like watching the anime, and I'm like, oh, I can take like these things or inspirations. Now I don't have it up here, but I have a Mob Psycho design where he's in the front, and then he goes over 100. So he has like, the characters like more like dark and like animated and stuff. And there's a specific scene where you see like just the eyes. I technically did that in the design because I thought like, oh, like light and dark type of situation. So like
Yeah,
he like that's in the back and then 100. And I also did that for another one as well, Assassination Classroom, because when Kuro Sensei is angry, he has his dark side face, and when he's happy, he has his regular face. And I did a half and half. So sometimes the designs are inspired by like, oh, this is what I've watched or I've noticed in characters, and I kind of just want to incorporate it into the design in that way.
it's really nice. I was gonna say if you're doing that kind of like Mob Psycho, maybe if the Mob Psycho cats at another convention, maybe you can show them what you did. They might like it.
True. Hopefully, hopefully one day it'll be nice to meet some of them because I really do love the anime.
Sure. Which anime worlds or characters have inspired your art the most?
Oh man, that's well. I will say Mob Psycho again. There's also I'm trying to think. I would say Gurren Lagann was one of the first anime that just inspired me in general because just knowing how anime can just be creative, you can just take whatever random idea and just form it into your own because Read or Die essentially is an anime where they're set in like a dystopian, I forget, like British like universe,
Yeah.
where there's like a villain or conglomerate, but the heroes are technically bookworms, and they developed like powers where they can use like the books and the text as weapons. So it's just like that's the first time just like something that people would think is boring, they turn into like a whole series. So that's always stuck with me.
So
And those are
basically,
like two series.
okay, so mostly the stuff you take is inspiration from Mob Psycho, and I know when you said like the stuff, it's basically like what, like kings and wizards. Well, mostly wizards. A lot of
Yeah.
magician stuff going on in there, which is fine. I know a lot of people love magic stuff. I mean, the last person I talked to, I think you saw her that I mentioned her a few times along with you. She was into a lot of like magic girl stuff, like Magica, Monica Magica. Is that what it's
Oh,
called?
yeah. For me, I'm into like a lot of genres. So I would say even like mystery as well. And I like psychological as well. So things like Psychopaths is one of those things, and some other shows where like they really go outside the box and they make you think. I also like those as well, and like action. I think the only ones I don't watch as much is romance, but if there's like a good romance one, I'll tune into it.
That's true. Hey, listen, me myself, I'm trying to broaden my horizons. I mean, you seen some of the stuff I posted on my story saying, "Hey, I finished watching this. This is up
Yeah,
next." I did finish the first season of Sailor Moon last week,
nice.
so now then I finished season 4 of Dragon Ball Z like two
Yeah,
nights ago, and I also watched the fifth movie, Cool's Revenge. Now I'm actually back on season 5 of My Hero Academia. The thing is, the reason why I went back to My Hero Academia so fast is because the final season's in 2 months. So I'm
yeah,
trying to watch the whole thing over. I started back earlier this year in January. So I've
yeah.
just been kind of slacking a little bit. And plus, after we get off, I'm going to watch the third movie after a few episodes for another movie break.
Oh, awesome. I definitely understand what you mean with catching up. I'm trying to catch up to all of the current ones. So I'm
Yeah.
watching like Gotcha Kuta and Kaiju number 8, The Summer Hikaru Died, Taco Piece Original Sin. So as you can see, the genres are like there's so many genres within that
I
already.
know.
So
I know. But it's fun to explore those kind of genres. For me, it is because I'm doing something to do. Because basically, the last few years, I've been all about this Dragon Ball, My Hero Academia. There's more. There's more. I had to broaden my horizons because maybe after I'm done with season 5 of My Hero Academia, maybe I might start another. I don't know whether it's another like fan service. So I might start Claymore and Rosario
mm,
Vampire. And then,
that's a good one.
and then after I'm done, I might go into the sports section. I'm gonna go back to Blue Lock because I've been on Blue Lock in a while, and then watch
hmm
Hayaku.
hmm
So I'm trying to.
I actually have to finish Hayu. I started Blue Lock. I need to catch up.
The only reason why I started Blue Lock because I met the whole Blue Lock cast. I met Aaron Campbell. I met Bryson. I forgot. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Cayman Cassie and Rico Fajardo. So they got me into Blue Lock, and I was already 12 episodes in.
yeah.
So. And guess what? Cayman Cassie actually started his own talk show, and his talk show is actually following me on Instagram right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I was like, I didn't do nothing. I'm just minding my own business. So, but I do have plans to talk to Cayman and Cassie. I just have to talk to Jay Russo. He's the guy who's been connecting me with the voice actors. So I'm going to
Mhm.
talk to. He's going to hook me up probably next week because we're probably going to talk about it this weekend because I got one Merc Nguyen who's been in like the Fairy Odd Parents and like the other anime shows. I forgot what it was called. Then you have Henry Dentman who was also in Naruto. So I
Mm,
have a few. I have a few voice actors going on. For the rest, I sent him another list, so that's work in progress. Well, let me tell you why. He's like the
yeah.
only one I can contact for like talent managers. So emailing those agencies doesn't do any good, and I send a
Mm,
lot of emails out.
yeah.
It doesn't do any good because it's like, okay, for example, I emailed Macy Ann Johnson because she was pop step earlier this year for Vigilantes.
Yeah.
Her agency texted me back and said, if I forward your request and if interested, Miss Johnson will be in contact. Did you
Mm.
know? Like, did you know? Like, that's pretty much a signal. Hey, we sent your request out to the wild. If it's lucky, it'll survive the harsh winds, the predators, kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, so emailing you guys doesn't do any good. So
Yeah.
plan B. I had to do my research and found some people that been like had these kind of connections. So now it's like, okay, I met a guy who can help me. So he's working on getting like these voice actors for now, but then also getting like the ones that I want to talk to because I've been in contact with AJ Beckles and Emily Neves, and I'm trying to sit down and
Mm,
talk with them. I gave them my business cards. So I
nice.
sent a few emails out to AJ Beckles, but he hasn't responded. Plus, with him being as Aaron and
Okoro from
Oko
the
and Don to Don, he's kind of been in booming a lot, so it's kind of hard to contact him.
Yeah.
So I mean, he did say send him an email. I did find his email and I sent it to him. So I haven't got anything back from him, but I can't lose hope. It's a work in progress. But yeah, some of those, but yeah, mostly the genres. I just been exploring stuff that I haven't seen before. Listen, if you watch Your Lie in April, you will cry. Okay.
I heard, yeah, I because I usually don't cry for most like anime, but I remember it clearly. I was working out when I saw the last episode, and I'm like mid set, and I just start crying
I was
because
like, I was like, she had cancer. I hate cancer so much.
yeah,
I hate it so much. There's nothing
Yeah.
you can do about it.
Yeah.
All right, but onward to the next question. If you could collaborate with any anime studio or creator, who would it be and why?
Hmm. So, so you said any creator or any
Or anime studio, what would it be and why?
hmm. So I guess because I have like a newfound appreciation for Dandadan and the way it's been animated, the studio that is currently working on Dandadan would be a great one. I'm trying to remember. Science Saru. That's the name of the group.
Yeah, that's
Um,
the same one that did. That's the same one that did. Scott Pilgrim takes off.
Yes. And for me it's just how fluid the animation is, but especially from the series that they've been animating, they really pay attention to, just the material that they're doing. They make focus of like the pace,
Right.
where to put in certain things that they would think would follow the material or just follow what the characters and the story is about. And just the animation is just it's so good. It's so clean. It's just I you don't see any like yeah, of course they're human, they have mistakes, but it's like, I don't see anything that makes it not stand out the way it has. There's a reason why the episodes get the reviews that they get because it's just like it makes you feel something every time you watch it. For me personally, because I had started reading the manga a little bit. I stopped a little bit past where we are right now, but like I feel like I'm flipping through the pages and something about that feels great. So yeah, definitely if there's any studio. Shout out to Mappa, yes, but it's just it just feels like they treat their animators well. You know what I mean? So,
You do. And ever since I looked in and listen, I did do my research on the animation company. They've done a lot of amazing work. Ever since I watched Scott Pilgrim, like I watched it like 5 times now because it's
mm,
really good. Because this is like Scott Pilgrim animated as it should be. I mean, I read the comics too when they came out with that movie. I was like, let me get in more into this. So I did my research, and when I heard they were doing this new series called Dawn to Dawn, I was like, is the animation going to be the same? Like, is it going to be the same like Scott Pilgrim? So when I was looking at the opening song, I was like, yep, they made it like Scott Pilgrim because of the animations, and I think they're probably going to be doing more stuff like that. So it's really interesting to see because you have like a lot of animators. You also got a lot of people because I know. Let me say for example,
mm,
if you've seen the two Dragon Ball Super movies and Dragon Ball Daima, they had to change animators left and right. So I
mm,
know the first one, I forgot his name, but it made it seem like it was kind of like, oh, like a Studio Ghibli film a little bit, like Dragon Ball
yeah,
Super. It made it look like that a little bit. I'm not sure. And then Dragon Ball Super Superhero was more like 3D animation. If you saw it, it's kind of like the Sandland. Sandland was pretty good.
yeah.
So Sandland was amazing. I need to watch it again. It was good.
Attack on Titan did the same thing. They had to switch animators at least I believe 3 times. I watched a full length video. They showed every season and every like step that they have to take each season for the animation and certain things that changed and when Mappa came in and they came in about halfway through. Like when we started seeing more of like the 3D stuff. So it's very interesting to see like how you can tell if like there's changes in the animation studio throughout like different seasons.
It's cruel. And listen, another example. It's pretty much like this show that I'm wearing right now. It's pretty much an anime because this new Superman show actually came from a Korean studio.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I did the research. I was like, yeah, it's from a Korean studio, and I like how they did this. They, they took a fresh take on the Man of Steel, and they put like fresh shonen anime tropes to make it feel like
Mhm.
very something spectacular, more funny, more serious, and like those like slice of life moments. I like how they did that because I was like, we've never seen the Man of Steel like this before. Now, Suicide Squad Isekai, okay, maybe it might be a little different than My Adventures with Superman because
Yeah.
mostly, they had Japanese voice actors. That's the one difference. They did. So it's really nice that DC is also taking some steps towards anime because mostly DC is better with the animations than Marvel. Now,
Yeah.
aside from James Gunn's new Superman movie, maybe they could get back on track, but they were just kind of rushing. But
Yeah.
Marvel, I don't think Marvel had as good run with animations. Then they shut that studio down, like in
Mm.
2019. Like after they did Marvel Spider-Man from 2017 to 2020, they shut the studio down because they couldn't figure out any other animations. And then you also got like if you've seen this show called The Fantastic Four: World Greatest Heroes, that was
Yeah.
pretty much. If you've seen the animations from that, I know it's like Boom Scoop or something, but it was actually an anime type show. The way they did that,
Mm.
if you remember that show, because
Yeah,
it came
I
on
remember
Toonami.
it a little bit.
Yeah, it came on Toonami, and I was like, the Fantastic Four looks like they belong in an anime. And I was like, the animation does look like it. If like listen, if you really just look, it's like an anime show.
Yeah, that's very true. And you do have a point there. I will say, when it comes to Marvel, I feel like their movies are the ones that are like surpassing, and then DC is definitely, the animation. For me, it's like, yeah, definitely DC for the animation. Marvel, they do try. It's just sometimes it's a hit or miss.
It, exactly. And to be honest, I think now listen, I know like they're already dropping Peacemaker season 2, but I think DC should keep doing the animations because they're much better with that than Marvel is.
Yeah.
And guess what? Sometimes because like Jim Lee and like Jay, like some of those other people who directed the previous DC films, they basically were taking like anime style stuff into a DC movie. Something that I didn't see notice until I watched the DC animated movie universe, which was from Justice League Flashpoint Paradox to Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. So I was like, well, shoot, they really did an amazing job with these animations. And then you get shows like this coming later in 2023, where it's like, now see what DC's doing. This is much better. Like they're getting somewhere. Like I told them, y'all need to try to do some anime style DC shows, and that's how my adventures with Superman came along.
That makes sense.
So all right, I want to the next one. This one's going to be important. Okay,
Mhm.
representation and community. Anime Ink Art is proudly black owned. What does representation mean to you in anime art community?
It means a lot because a lot of us in the community just being a blur to begin with, probably drawing these things since we were small and not getting that support or being made fun of, to trying to now push the art in the community. And before, we knew about the blurred community, it would be a lot of mixed reviews on both ends of the spectrum. Like, people will like that you do the art, but then if you don't have a specific set of art, they don't want to support you. Or like, you choose to do stuff for the community because you want to see yourself in the work that you do. You want to be proud of that. Like, this is who we are. We're representing each other, and sometimes people will say they want it, but then they don't support it, or they want like the blackified versions of things. So for me, I it's very important because it's just like, we're out here, we're proud of what we do, and we want to share that with our community. So I'm happy to see that more people are pushing through, whatever doubts they have about their art, or that their art isn't good enough or is not the target art. Because, I believe in, like, if you want to draw your favorite fan art and you're a black artist, you're still a black artist at the end of the day. If you're a black artist and you just want to do your original characters, you still should be accepted in the community. As well as, like, if you diverge and you do something different, or you do concept art, all of it is art, and it all should be represented by us regardless, you know what I mean, and supported regardless. So that's why it's important for me, because we have so many different people in the community that want to do their own things, especially with art, and it all should be accepted. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and to be honest, and since I brought that question into the into this conversation, I have befriended with a lot of black creators. What are they doing? Tattoo artists, because I met a few tattoo artists too. I met a few art people. I met who else? I met a few, like, if I can bring this in here, not safe for work creators who do all kind of crazy stuff. But it doesn't really matter what you do as long as you're happy. I don't You don't have to care what
Yeah,
the other people like. Yeah, I don't like this.
yeah,
Fuck them. Fuck them. I
yeah,
think, just forget about it. You're in control of your own story. You don't let nobody decide for you. And
yeah,
there have been like more instances, people just harassing like black creators for just doing
yeah,
their own thing. You know,
yeah,
and to be honest, they're just asking for attention, and that's just noise. You know, and some people do have like those negative emotions toward people who are just trying to do their own thing. They're not bothering you, minding their own business. Like, if y'all don't like it, then don't come to us. That's just simple. We don't need to hear your opinions.
yeah.
Mm,
And especially because there's still a lot of black creators that are scared to do their art. So when they see that negativity with other creators, it stops them from wanting to create. But it's just like that's why it's important for us to, in general, but especially in our community, like to not drag people for like what you think their art style should be as well. Because every artist is always learning and they're always growing. So I always encourage like just encourage them to do it. You don't know where they're gonna be in the next 4 years or 5 years, but they need that push, to for us to see them. That's the thing.
yeah. And me myself, like, I'm not doing any artwork. Well, doing these videos is kind of like art, I guess.
Sure.
I mean, I'm just, sometimes you got to find what works with you. Like me myself, I graduated from college like a few years ago, couple of years ago. So I'd be almost 3 years now. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in digital media production and journalism, and I did photography for a few years. I did take pictures of models, but then after a little incident in between March and April, I stopped. I put this back on the shelf. So I had to go back and think to myself, okay, what else can I do? So I had to look back at my college playbook, and I said to myself, hey, I've done 3 documentaries. I can talk to people. So that's how I came to be doing these kind of like this podcast. And yeah, like I said, naming the podcast is called The Conversation. So I talk with all kinds of people, business people included. Like sometimes business can, well, you are running a business, so that counts. But you see the picture here. So me doing these talk shows, it is kind of hard. And to be honest, I haven't done a video game walkthrough in a long time, so I'm kind of falling behind. I haven't done it since June, because the only reason I did it in June, because that month was the 10th anniversary of Arkham Knight.
Mm.
And I was like, it's been 10 years since that game came out, and it's still good today. People, listen, I was even watching on Arkham videos. People are still playing the game today, even though it's like 10
Yeah.
years old. Like, it's
I'm not
really good.
surprised.
So, but yeah, as long as I just keep, it's good to find new projects that you want to do. If something is not working for now, find something else to do. So maybe a few like loopholes or some kind of roadblocks you have to clear first, but at least it's working. This is blowing up a lot lately, so I've been getting a lot of attention because people want to hear these kind of like conversations, so they're starting to like them. But yeah, mostly with black creators, they just do what makes you happy. Don't let I know some people are still afraid of the noise. Like me myself, I'm afraid. Like, but here's the thing: despite all that fear, I'm still doing this because
Yeah.
I know I got to keep doing something. I got to bring something to the table. If not, what am I doing?
Yeah. That's true.
All right, next one, and this is going to be like a really important question. I think this is what happened actually this week.
Okay.
Recently, there's been discussion online about the treatment of the black actor who plays. Let's see, that's her name is uh, Kandran in the One Piece live action
Mm.
series. I think you've heard about that, kind of, sort of. As someone who works in anime culture and celebrates diversity, what's your take on that situation and the bigger conversation it sparked?
I It's a very sad situation because it's like for people and I've heard some takes about it. Because when it comes to like One Piece kind of sort of talks about adversity and racism in a sense. So the fact that people were reacting that harshly to a little bit of a different change in skin tone and everything like that, it's kind of crazy if you like One Piece and knowing those topics and then treating somebody that's trying their best to represent that character in that way, just not even giving them a chance based on their acting skills. You just see their skin tone and you're just like, we can't support it. And
Yeah,
I feel like it's a problem because it's just like there's so many of us out here that just want that chance, especially when it's related to a show like that and we relate to it because of the issues that we deal with in our community. To just get that chance to be able to represent in the best way possible. I just wish people would get past that and see the person for their quality of acting and work. Because if anybody watched the trailer,
mm,
it's just and first of all, it's just a small snippet. Until we get more content, you don't even know how she's gonna represent the character. So I don't understand why they can't just go based off of that. But that's like systemic and everything like that. But it is a very sad situation.
yeah. And going off of that, the same situation happened this year with the How to Train Your Dragon Astrid. People were attacking her, but they were saying it's just a movie. So if you don't like it, don't watch it. That was her response. I'm here to her to do acting. If you don't like diversity, that's your problem, not mine. And the same thing happened 2 years ago in 2023 when they did the live action Little Mermaid for
Yeah.
Ariel, and
Hmm.
she was getting a lot of backlash. Now, when I was looking at it in the iTunes comments, one person and the comment that he left is about as disgusting as you would imagine it would be. He was saying monkeys don't belong in the ocean.
Mm,
So
wow.
I was like, why do you even care? It's not even real.
But what's
Like,
crazy about that is like people don't research the lore when it comes to mermaids because it's in there's different cultures, like even in our cultures in the Caribbean culture, they talk about mermaids. So therefore, like if we're going off of that context, it could be any race that you want it to be. So like for people that don't do their research, that's for one. But for two, like a lot of people that has a little bit more understanding and common sense, it's a fictional character. It literally could be whatever you want it to be, which that's what makes it crazy when people go to these extremes.
and yeah, so in my response to that, and I was, like they're just so eager to paint like, oh, this ain't good characters because she's black. They couldn't give like two shits about the whole story itself. They're basically trying to tell a story. So sorry to tell you once again, it seems the chaos coming from inside your own fucking house.
That's true.
So, but hey, that's y'all problem, not ours. We're gonna keep telling our stories. Y'all keep doing the whole keyboard stuff, okay? Bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
On to the next question. Do you think anime fandom has improved in embracing diversity, or is there still a long way to go?
Mm, I think it's a mixed bag. I think we've done a little bit better than maybe let's say 5 or 6 years ago. But I would say just based on the current climate of, I guess, political and or just climate of the person in charge right now, I've seen a little bit of like an uptick, especially with, them getting rid of DEI and stuff like that. It was like we were doing very, very well. And then now, as of like this year, it's become like a mixed bag again. I feel like there's still an improvement, but there's a little bit of an undoing, and like some people are trying to be like, wait a minute, we we shouldn't do this, and there's like a lot of infighting. That's what I think's going on with that.
Yeah. Sometimes, instead of like it was physical, sometimes it's like a mental battle in here. Mostly some people are like, whether they're like online or something on the internet, to be honest, some of the stuff that I've seen people do instead of like being physical, they like to like just talk it out, Here's the thing: I don't interact with people who don't want to interact and don't want to educate themselves. If you guys don't want to interact and don't want to educate yourself, I'm not wasting my breath with you. I'm just here to talk and just put information. What y'all do is what y'all decide to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it's but yeah, mostly it's more like a mental battle in some of
Yeah.
those cases. And lately, with all the like the internet stuff, now you got this thing with AI. Yeah, it's pretty much a mental area.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's a lot of mental, like a lot of like people just want to follow all this information instead of like processing it and gaining more knowledge and then coming to their own conclusion. They kind of just want to jump on whatever they hear and then they just become, mindless to it.
So one thing, and also, lately, I said, we don't want to help people who don't. You can't help people who don't want to be helped. You can't save everybody. One thing I did tell them, like I told this previous person, you can't fix other people. When people like that start flailing, it's not our job to rescue them from themselves. It's our job to make sure to be there for them when they're ready to get their life together.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and I think us, like the way I'm talking to you now, you doing your anime art, this is us fighting back right now. Even if we don't know it yet, we are
Yeah,
just fighting back in our own way, just having these conversations. So,
yeah,
but I think it's working.
yeah.
So, um, so we're out of that section now. Back to the fun stuff. Building anime ink art. Walk us through your process. How does the design go from an idea in your head to a finished product?
So usually, I just think about, okay, what do I actually want to draw? Sometimes it depends on, you do research on what people might like at that moment. Sometimes I do polls and I ask people, and sometimes those polls end up being like a drawing. So for example, like with the Mob Psycho, I was just like, I've always wanted to do a Mob Psycho. So then I had to think about which character I wanted to do. And for me, I always wanted to draw Mob. And then from there, I just wanted to think about how I was gonna do it. And then so I would just brainstorm that. And then from there, you know, like whatever proper references I need just to create my own thing, and I'll do that, and then I'll start drawing. So the process is I do the traditional part, which is the sketching and the initial drawing phase. So depending on how big the piece is, it could be as short as maybe like an hour or two, like when I'm doing like commissions and somebody wants a chibi version, to like maybe like 5, 6 plus hours, because it's like a whole character and everything like that. From there, I because I the ink part is because I actually use like pens, like graphic ink pens,
Wait, you
and
just use pen?
yeah, like I have like it's actually in the background. Like I have my pencils, like my graphite pencils and everything, and then I
Okay.
have like the drawing pens that you see people use, like traditional artists use. So I go over it and I do the line art with that. So then from there, I have to color it. So I have my alcoholic Uhu markers, as well as the Copic markers.
Yeah.
For me, I realized that like when it came to the skin tone, the Copic markers are a little bit better. They have better colors, especially when you're trying to do
Yeah.
melanated characters. So I mix and match. So like the Hulu markers would probably be for like more so the body, and just being mindful of like over time I've learned like certain shades, like what colors not to use, if it's black and white, this, that, and the third. And then I'll do the skin. So then from there, which I am changing the way I might do the digital part. Originally, I would take a picture of it, and I have my two apps where I just like try to make it darker and contrast just for things to pop originally, and then from there I have my editing apps. So like for this one right here, like after I colored it and I took a picture, I
Yeah.
had to like enhance everything, and then I had found a background, and then I had to superimpose the background to the back. So that's like all the process that goes into some of these designs. So like after I draw it and like do everything, I take the picture, and then sometimes I end up doing a little bit extra just to make the design different from what it looked like in the drawing.
Okay. that seems like a lot to do. But I know you have like a step by step process. I know you put in your notes. Most of the stuff that when I do something, I make sure to like have notes on by saying, "Hey, this part goes here. This happens next, etc., etc." Because I met a cosplayer at Boat Mystery earlier this year in June. He actually told me that one of his cosplays took him almost half a year to create. And it was a
Mm,
lot of steps involved. He didn't have to order nothing. He just had to like find some stuff and just put everything from scratch.
yeah.
So I was like, I can't do that. It's just a lot for me to do. I just can't. I'll just stick to the video part. Thank you very
Because
much.
I will say, like, as I decided to do cosplay, that also I feel like is a lot more work even than the drawings because just setting everything up and making sure you do it in the transitions and then video editing afterwards. So there's a lot of work goes into
And plus, that stuff is expensive.
it.
Dude, like I, I tried to get into 2021, wasn't me. So I found another way to interact with cosplayers. Lately since March when I went to Anime Inc., I've been making some trips to Best Buy. Okay, so I had to get my technology upgraded. I have two Rode wireless microphones. Thing is, I'm using my headphones this time because I was like, I haven't worn my headphones, these gaming
Yeah,
headphones in a while to talk to you. So I was like, maybe
yeah,
I need to switch it up. So I have that. I also got the same ones that you have, the Rode Micro.
yeah.
That,
That's
yeah, I have that too. Because I was like, that's for me, like on the go, like anime hot takes and stuff. And I do have a GoPro camera.
that's
People
awesome.
were jealous when I had it on my strap. Even the voice actors that I met, they liked the GoPro. They were saying you pretty much have a lot of technology on yourself.
Yeah,
I told them, hey, I just got all these toys I'm dying to use.
that's true.
So imagine yourself having to like, oh shoot. And listen, if my battery gets low, I have a battery pack, so I have more
Yeah.
batteries to keep the footage going.
Okay. No, you're good.
Hey,
For
hey,
me,
go ahead,
no,
go ahead,
I
go ahead, go ahead.
understand, especially like you're trying to figure out what to do on a budget. You can't probably spend on too much. I mean, like the road was probably like on the a little bit more expensive end, but it was okay because I needed it for my shows and everything. But I
Mhm.
even have like a like like the small photography light in the back. That's why it's so bright right now. Like ever since I got that, it's helped a lot. It's small, but it's powerful. So even when I'm doing my videos, at least people can see me.
Yeah. I'll probably be doing that for Anime Week in Atlanta on Christmas. I'll have my GoPro camera, my micro of my microphones because it's gonna be a long event. I do want to go to a convention before my family comes to town on Christmas because I want to go. Listen, I don't want to be in my room just playing my Xbox and Nintendo Switch 2. Okay, I want to go out and live a little before the end of the
Yeah,
year.
that's true.
So for big cons like that, I'll just bring my GoPro camera and stuff. Make sure I have my battery pack too. Because thing is,
Of course.
I have like 5 batteries.
Mm.
Five.
I mean, at least you're prepared.
Hey, I do my research. Listen, let me tell you something. Some of
Yeah.
the voice actors that I talked to, Emily Neves mostly, and I met her at Bow Missouri. When I walked by her table, when I came up to talk to her, she recognized who I was.
That's amazing.
Well, I kept tagging them so much in my story, saying, "Hey, I'm doing this. I'm meeting you guys here,
Yeah.
etc." So, yeah, they recognized who I was. Even David Matraga, those two are dating. Todoroki recognized who I was too.
I mean, that's a win, man.
I was like, "Huh? Well, looks like I got their attention."
Yeah.
It's like I kicked the hornet's nest.
Yeah.
So I'll probably be doing that for the rest of the year. They add more voice actors to Anime Week in Atlanta, so they'll be like, "Hey, I know that guy. He been tagging me a lot." Well, duh, I've been tagging a lot so I can get your chance. Hey, I'm coming to see you guys, have some conversations. So, but yeah, they recognize who I was.
Well,
I'm
that's
not
good.
trying. I'm not trying to do this for cloud. I just want to interact listen. It's hard to try to sit down and talk with voice actors at Comic Cons. And to be honest, you can only interview them if you have a press pass. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have a press pass because I don't have a lot of people. following me these days. I mean, but you never know until you try.
Yeah,
Because
it's true.
because here's the thing. There's something that's something I wanted to bring it up to one of the voice actors, and this is really concerning. Are you I don't know if you watch any WWE, but do you know Araya Ripley by any chance?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
What happened was while she was out of town in Australia, a fan and found her home and address,
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, okay, that's creeping on so many levels.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? And and she had a podcast interview like I grew up like everyone else. I live like everyone else. I don't want some random person coming up to my door.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with some of these fans these days. They don't forget that the people that they interact, they're still human.
Hmm.
Like when I talk to like when I talk to voice actors, I want to understand them. I want to have these conversations because they're more because behind the voice of all these beloved characters we love, they're human beings. So treat them like human beings. Don't respect people's privacy.
Yeah.
Like shoot, if I want to go to a person's house, I ask for consent first. I don't just
Yeah.
show up.
Yeah, you don't
But
show up to people's homes. That's their safe space, you know? Like why
that's the
would you,
time.
you know?
Yeah, unless they say different, please
Yeah.
don't go to their house unexpected. Don't find their address. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Ask respect people's boundaries, ask for permissions. If they say no, keep it moving. Right, go
Yeah.
find something else to do.
Touch grass.
It, my words exactly. So, moving on. I had to vent there because I saw that video, that person walking up to the door. I just had to bring that up. So,
Yeah.
um, what has been your most memorable or favorite commission so far?
Oh, you said favorite commission, you said?
Yeah, what has been your most memorable or favorite commission so far?
Hmm. I would say so. My good friend Shamanizer, they recently wanted to commission me. They've been a great support, great friend. You know, every time I get a submission, they're just like, oh, like anything I do. So they finally had a little bit of money and they wanted to do like a chibi version. So they really do like Pokemon.
Hmm.
So they had a picture of themselves cosplaying as like Ash, and they had the Pokédex. So he wanted to use it as his profile picture. So he was just like, "Can you do it as a chibi form for me?" And like do that. So when I did it, he was just genuinely so happy about it, and I just thought it was cute. Like just him as like playing the game with like Ash, and I just got to recreate him as that. So that's like one of my memorable ones because it was the most recent, and it was memorable for me because I was dealing with a lot of tough situations last year and like injuries and stuff like that. So it was the first commission trying to get back into the swing of things. So that's what made it memorable because it was somebody that supported me through it, and they're just like, "Hey, I know you're back. Here you go." So that's why.
It's nice to have those kind of support systems, especially hey, this is something I really want to do. I want to keep on doing it. It may not be perfect in one day, but you have those types of people who will support your work and find ways to get you on board with certain things. Like just like my example with Sharp Cosplay, she's trying to get me on board with the brand she's been with for a few years now. So she's trying to connect with me and talk about like promoting herself in a big way, that kind of situation. But yeah, it's nice
Yeah,
to have those kind of connections.
yeah, it is.
So now it's your turn. You also run Anime Ink Art Live Talks. How did that start? And what's been the most surprising moment?
Oh man, I to tell you the truth, I didn't know I was gonna do this, to be honest. Um, so for me, I love talking to people, I love engaging with people, but I still have a slightly introverted side to me. So sometimes I wanted to like share my work and stuff like that, but depending on how the day is and how busy I get, because I do a lot of things, I find that when I was going live by myself, I felt like I was repeating myself, like I was talking to myself, and I was still a little bit nervous, and I was trying to get out of my shell because I actually before AnimeInkArt Live Talks, since the beginning of like me just trying to figure out AnimeInkArt,
Yeah.
um, at some point I met the group like Famicom Online, and that's how I met a bunch of different creators and cosplayers. And growing up where I grew up, I didn't know that all these people existed. So I wanted to share them on my page every once in a while. And it used to be called Anime Inkart Black Brand Spotlights. So
Wow.
I would like post, the person that I was gonna shout out, and then in the stories, I would just a bunch of posts that I like, and then I would tag all their socials and stuff like that. So that's how I ended up like networking with people. So over time, it was like a lot of people I was just like getting to interact. Some that I met too at cons, and they were supporting, and they knew that I did that. But then, I started doing my own endeavors, and people brought up to me like, you don't want that to overshadow your stuff, but it was still important to me. But then at the same time, I took like a few business classes, and they're like, get to know your audience in a way, like find a way to be authentic with them so that they can support you. And I thought about all these things, and I've had conversations with people that are like close with me, and they talk about different topics, like just feeling like they don't get enough support, or how can we like network to support each other better. And we were having all these conversations, and I'm like, maybe we should have a conversation about that. I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I just thought, oh, talk to people one on one and have that conversation about how can we support each other better in the community. But then I can get to actually know them, and the audience can actually get to know them. But I was really, really nervous about it, 'cause I didn't think anybody would want to actually, like, one on one talk
Yeah.
with me. Um, so after talking to some people, I just did like a flyer, and I did it. But I chose the people that like have been consistently talking with me, and that I would feel like said yes. So it started with them, and I did it. And they surprisingly were just like, "Oh, you're pretty good at this." And I'm like, me over here is just like, I'm really nervous. I'm glad you think that I did it well. And it kind of just went from there. I know in the beginning, I would always like to like check people's pages and all the information, and try to do my research as well. I just feel like there's so many creators in the community that they don't do just one thing, but depending on what gets popular, they're known for that thing. And I've dealt with that too. So when I have people on, I'm like, I'm gonna get to know everything they do. And I guess maybe that's the surprising part. Like the surprising part for me is that almost every person that's been on the show, I usually say, thank you for coming on. And a lot of them are like, I'm flattered that you did your research. And I know something about that is like very surprising, because it's like, I know that I tried to, but when somebody acknowledged that you actually tried to get to know it, it still catches you off guard that they kind of like have this
Yeah.
appreciation for that. Or that I guess I'm realizing maybe it's not as common as I think. I always thought that like when you invite somebody onto your show, they do as much research as possible. But some people have told me they don't. So I was just like, oh, so that's probably the most surprising part, is when I guess people have come on, or because there's a lot of like mixing now, there's a lot of like full circle moments sometimes. Like people will come on, and I know like a group of people, or it's like and like I've interviewed everybody in the podcast group, like, it's those type of things. And they would be like, "Oh, my friend told me about you. They had nothing but good things." And I'm just like, my heart just like, "Oh my goodness." Like I didn't think that it left the impact on them. That's like the most surprising thing about doing Anime Ink Live Talks. I guess it that they felt like they had such a safe space, that some of them have just come back just because they're like, "Oh, I just like to talk to you." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well that's good."
Yeah, it's nice that you're having this conversation. I know having these conversations with not just about anime in general. Like we myself, I'm trying to have different vibe with different people. Like some people do like photography, some do like tattoo artists. I do my research, and that's why I said last night I was up pretty late doing my research about you, so I can come up
Yeah,
with
I
some pretty
appreciate it.
interesting questions. Do some pretty interesting questions. But sometimes talking to people, it can be a little form of therapy too. It can be a
Yeah.
form of therapy, because some of the stuff we talk, I also ask life in general questions.
Mhm.
So it's like, which I'm about to ask you in the next section soon.
Of course.
But because mostly, I'm not doing this just to like, I'm not doing this just to get attention, just get clout or views. I'm not doing all that stuff. That was the old me. I'm doing this because this is like I like interacting with people. I'm trying to work on talking to more people because I am kind of a shy kind of person. Sometimes, it's just, I'm a Virgo, so it's just kind of hard to, you know, it's kind of hard to talk. But I
Yeah.
am but I am doing better. That's why so far you're like my you're like my 12th episode so far. I have like 12 episodes put up on YouTube. So if you want to check them out, there's that. But
Yeah.
I'm just working to talk to more people as long as I keep living and just have experience their experiences. Make those kind of connections that'll last a lifetime. And the reason I wanted to do this because it's much easier to have to just go out and just like find people. Oh, you want to do a photo shoot or something? But this is easier because most of you guys are like across the globe, across the country.
Yeah.
This is easier to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm being able to interact with new people this way because I want them to know what I do and who I am. And same thing with with my first voice actors next week. I want to understand about them and their experiences because there is more to life than just voice acting. Some of these voice actors, they have other jobs than just voice acting.
Hmm.
And that, I think because I had a conversation with Rico Fajardo back in February when I met him at Savannah Animation. He actually started a cybersecurity class, and I was like, "Is Lemillion teaching us cybersecurity?" Because also when
That's funny.
I heard his voice, and I was like, I think that's Lemillion teaching cybersecurity.
That's funny.
Hey, anybody recognize that voice from anywhere?
That's true.
So, but yeah, I'm trying to understand, trying to bring special guests so I can hear their story as well. Talk about any other upcoming projects they might have planned. But we'll see how far I go.
Yeah, of course.
So, but then listen, I don't want to listen. I want to keep doing this, but I don't want to lose myself in it because there's also more stuff I got to take care of my side. Enjoy what you like doing, but don't lose yourself in it.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
true.
important. Life is about the journey.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Hmm.
Go outside, go enjoy nature, go get ice cream, whatever you do.
That's true.
So all right, so we're in the home stretch here. Life, business, and creativity. What's been the longest challenge running an independent brand? If it's an independent brand,
Yeah.
if I'm
What have
not
you been?
mistaken. Hmm.
I think I think it's just, you know, for me, I know that I had to get used to asking for help or finding the connections in the beginning just
Hmm.
from, past life experiences where I don't know, like you give your all, but you don't get it reciprocated. And that's something to where like I got a tendency to try to do a lot of stuff on my own. So I know in the beginning of AnimeInkArt, just trying to know how to promote myself and who my audience would be. And gratefully, when I found Famicom Online, it started helping me do that. But that's something to where I still get surprised by the support because, having those past experiences, you're just like, oh, people actually appreciate what I'm doing. They want to see me win. They want to see me push forward. And sometimes you have those conflicting, like, you want to give your all and lean on them, but you don't know if it's going to go south. That's one of like the hardest things I think I've had to deal with. And just, you know, I work full time. I'm a lab tech at a wastewater treatment plant. So that's a lot of demand on you as well. So I'm technically, doing this on the side. And sometimes you make sales, sometimes you don't make sales. Sometimes, you just have to figure things out, and your full-time job supports that, and that's how a lot of creators are. So that's something you also have to navigate as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
random things, whether it's like some artists and businesses, especially when you're doing fan art, but you're also doing original art, but you also have to deal with the big copyright issues that all of us deal with,
yeah.
going to
Copyright.
cons and stuff like that. I've had on Redbubble, they've taken stuff down, and I've drawn everything. I've done everything. I try even not to put the characters' names in titles. Whereas some people just, they just put the Google and they put it out there, and somehow they don't get in trouble. But then for me, they take stuff down every once in a while. And that can be scary because you built so much into this. You don't want it to go down, you know what I mean? And so you start figuring out, how can I keep this going? Is it even worth it and stuff like that. So until somebody's just like, you work so hard, don't let it get to you. I know artists on Etsy where it happens to them as well, but the people that are supposed to get in trouble, they don't get in trouble, and it's just like, you just you just start figuring out what to do. So me recently, I've because I can do original art, because I can design a little bit, I've done multiple things now to still show the anime and show like my artistic side. And sometimes it might have the characters, but I pick and choose where to do that at. If it's at a convention, being mindful of like what their rules are and stuff like that. And then on my store itself, I recently did more theme merch that you would see, because I'm still using my artistic side. I did
Yeah.
a Soul Eater piece recently where I just did different phrases and sayings, and people really loved this. So because I can do those different things, I'm like, okay, I can still navigate this. I still vend in person. I still do commissions. I still do whatever. So I have backups. That's the thing that I had to learn. Is like, it's okay to have backups. It's okay that one particular thing may not work out at that moment. That's probably just a sign that you should have multiple streams to keep it running in case something happens. But that's the scary part. You don't know what's going to hit you in the face in that moment, on top of sometimes your health, or you get injured and you realize, I have to take a step back away from it and do other things. So there was a period of time in 2024 where I had injured my shoulders, and it was a whole thing. And I realized I had health anxiety on top of that. So that was fun, but I still pushed through. And nobody really knew that until I decided to address it to certain people. So I also learned more so of a balance, that I have to take care of myself and my mental. And that's the only way I'm going to be able to continue to do anime ink art before I burn out completely. So those are some of the lessons I've learned along the way.
Hey, that's the old saying. Take care of yourself before you take care of others.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay to take a break if you're tired. Because I know. Listen, once I sorry,
You're
excuse
good.
me. Once I finish you guys and I do the other two next week, I might take another 1 week hiatus because I've been doing a lot
Hmm.
in 2 weeks. And I was like, oh my god, my throat.
It's
I
okay.
haven't done I haven't done this much in a long time. Like last time, because I didn't expect to have 3 interviews back to back this week. So it's a lot of work to do, and it's a lot for me to process. So I know, like after next week when I do my first voice actors, I'm probably gonna step away for this for another week.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
fair.
sure I'll find more people to talk to, but I'll just send messages out because I need to recover and get my mind back on track. Because one, I'm about to be back in school because I'm about to be done my cybersecurity program.
Yeah.
I'll be done by Christmas. So I got to get back into school mode. So probably next week after I'm done. I know school starts next week, but it won't
Hmm.
be as much to do. But I know next week is when things are going to start kicking up. I think
Hmm.
that week I'm just going to take a 1 week hiatus.
No, yeah, that's
Actually,
fair.
actually, it might be a 2 week hiatus because Dragon Con is on that week.
Mm.
So it might be
Yeah,
a 2 week. So it might be a 2 week hiatus.
yeah, I get you. The same thing with Anime Inkart. It really, for me, because I have a form and everything, it's really all dependent on who schedules. But now I make sure, if there's something that's happening that weekend, or something that I plan personally for family, I will
Yeah,
take it off of the schedule before they get to it, so that it
yeah,
doesn't clash and all of that happens. So I try to fit those in as well. And even if there's like a week where they have no shows, I'm perfectly fine with that. We just start next week. It's fine.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so don't forget, just you don't want to burn yourself out. It's so like on man, I said to Deku in season 6. I know how much this burden is to bear. Don't work too hard. It's okay to take a break if you're tired.
Yeah, that's the hard lesson.
So just keep that in mind. We don't want to become a dark Deku here because he did went
Yeah.
dark. He went dark. I was like, well, he wasn't himself anymore.
No.
So all for one guy in his head.
Yeah.
So. Um, let's see. How do you balance your creative vision with the realities of running a business?
Mm. Sometimes keeping in mind that you need a plan, and sometimes certain things are not going to be able to be done due to financial, and that's okay. That's some of the things that you have to do in terms of like reality, because there's certain things you want to push to do, but it's just like I don't have those resources yet. So think about how you're going to get those resources before you carry that out. Sometimes life, whether it's bills or whatever, they'll tell you like, "Oh, no, 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 slow down. You got some time. It's not the end of the world." And you just, you pivot. Sometimes it's just realizing that there's pivots, because, and even for me, what I had to learn, because I always like to be busy. I always like to have an agenda for things, but also keeping in mind that if you don't get to everything in your list, it's okay. It's okay to have a list, but do not get upset if you don't finish everything in the list, because there's only so many hours that you have in a day. And then just learning, okay, which certain things can you push for the next day and which things are the priority. And that's something that
Yeah,
you have to deal with when it comes to like your dreams with the business side, because there's certain things are not going to work business wise until you have a plan for it, or until you pay off a debt, or until you do this. It's not going to be feasible. So you kind of just have to tell yourself like it's okay if you didn't cross off the 20-page agenda list. Maybe the
yeah,
20-page agenda list needs to be shortened to the ones that are the most priority for that day. So,
true. And it's true because I know in life that I'm gonna have like my own personal challenges as far as work jobs, but you don't have to do everything one night. Sometimes I do all the work I'm supposed to do before like this day is due, but I know I have another day to complete it. Like, if you're tired from a long day, don't try to do everything one night. Try to list. Sometimes I want to finish all my work before I even eat, but
yeah,
that's not good. But that's not good.
I understand.
But that's not good. It's okay to just stop. Just be like, look, let's stop here tonight and try again in the morning.
Yeah. And even with like certain ideas, like that you have this project and you're trying to finish it. Even with like me making designs, because there's a current design where I just had to sit back. I'm trying to do an improvised like a theme design for Rengoku, because one of my friends is interviewing the voice actor and they want me to send it to them. So I've been like, for the past few days, just like anytime I feel overwhelmed by it, I just taking a break, because I know like if I take that break later on, I'll figure out what to do, because Rengoku is a little bit more intricate, and try to do a theme that's supposed to the one I already have with the character. You have to be a little bit more creative. So I'm just like, you know what? It's not the end of the world if I don't finish it today. I have a time frame, but I still have time, so it's good.
Okay, sweet. That's sweet. Um, when you're not drawing or designing, what's your go-to way to recharge?
Honestly, dancing, watching anime, because I have these periods where it's just like, okay, I haven't watched anime in 3 weeks. This is the moment I need to catch up on everything. Music as well. That's one of my big things. And honestly, because I do work out as well, that's something that I make time for throughout the week. So specifically, like after I get home from work, I always do some type of activity. Even when I was injured, and recently, outside of my normal workouts, I've been, especially because it's nice outside. I
Yeah,
take like 4 mile walks now. That's really nice, especially when it's not too hot. And then if it's too hot, I'll go to the gym, or I'll do my stuff at home. It's really work, like moving and being active like that always helps me out a lot.
that's nice. And yeah, I do the same thing too. Sometimes I like to go to like these parks. I go to Triplet Park here in Georgia, and I only go to the parks because I just want to get away from everything.
Yeah.
Just enjoy nature. It's really nice out there. If you ever come this way to Savannah, go check out Triplet Park. It's really nice.
Okay,
So
nice.
I go there. Sometimes I will watch TV shows or movies just to get my mind off of stuff. Maybe I'll just listen to some quiet music. I just have my headphones on and just sit in the bed until I fall asleep with the headphones on.
Yeah. That's always a
So
good thing.
so just to just help me recharge my batteries so I can get up and get back to kicking the next day.
Yeah.
So, um, fun part: if you could spend a day inside any anime world, where would you go and what would you do?
Oh my gosh. Wait, that's actually a little hard. I gotta think about that. Cause it's like, I remember somebody asked this question, and I was just like, wherever I won't die. That's what I said the
Where?
last time. But, um, you know, I guess I will go with Mob Psycho. I don't know. I just feel like getting to interact with like specifically like Mob and Reagan. Just just go to the like the facility and just see him just you know just doing his shenanigans and then just interacting would be pretty cool. And I feel like it would be just cool to just be in that universe because things happen, but like I feel like I won't like I said, die as
Yeah.
much compared to some universes. And they most of the characters seem like they would be chill. You know what I mean? The universe seems chill for the most part. But besides Mob just being an emotional wreck, if any of you have watched, like the last episode of the Mob Psycho season, where he crashed out because
Wow.
of because of a girl. But that was the most crazy I've ever seen anything happen in that universe. So I would probably choose a Mob Psycho universe.
Okay. Well, shoot, that sounds interesting. I might try Mob Psycho one of those days. That'll definitely be on my watch list now.
Definitely, it's a fun time. It's relatable because it's like if you've ever had to work for your emotions that you repress, but just imagine that you had telepathy and psychic power. That's pretty much the show, and he just like he goes through character development along the way. Granted, it's like an extreme version at times because he has the powers, but like it's relatable for somebody his age, and if you can go back to being his age, you're like, okay, yeah, I can understand. You're just trying to figure yourself out, and you're just going through your awkward self, just awkward life, just trying to figure who you want to be in the future. It's wholesome.
Okay. Nice. All right, we're at the end here. Last section, advice and inspiration.
Mhm.
For young artists, especially those from unrepresented backgrounds, what advice would you give about breaking into anime or art industry?
Mm, I think the greatest lesson I've learned is that networking is powerful whether you realize it or not. Like just building the skill of networking and having genuine conversations with people that you may come across that have that experience. Just, not even like expecting anything, but just being like, I like what you do. I'm into those things. Can you help me? And then just having genuine like discussions or things. I've been able to do so many things that I didn't even realize I could do just because I decided to have a genuine conversation. Not forcing them to work with me, not expecting anything, but just carrying through with the initial, meeting and building with them and then getting that payback in return. That's what I would say because sometimes it's not what you have, sometimes it's who you know. And you don't realize how powerful that actually is until you put it into practice.
Okay. Just like, whatever works. Like I tell people, like if you want to do something, just run with it. Try to play around it. Like see where it's gonna take you. Like you want to make sure that you don't. Sometimes you gotta walk before you can run, and that's true. You want to walk before you can run before you just get into something that's deep, and then you feel like it's not what I expected when I started this. Just make sure it's something that you really want to do, but also make sure you understand why you're doing it too.
Yeah, and from what people have told me, because some people are like, "Oh, you're on the rise." First, I don't I try not to put that in my head. I'm just figuring it out. I'm not doing it for the clout or anything. I'm just like, I just want to see what happens. But people have told me it's just like you never know who's watching because apparently some people have seen like me, and apparently they're inspired by me to keep going, regardless of if nobody, like for example, for Anime and Guard, when nobody was watching it, when nobody was suggesting it, when nobody was looking in my way. But now sort of kinda, people are looking my way, and they said it's because you didn't stop doing what you loved, even when you felt like you didn't get the attention. So I would just say, keep if you really love it, people is going to see that. So just keep doing it. You don't know who's watching you. You'll be surprised.
It, exactly. Um, what's one piece of advice you wish someone had given you when you started Anime Ink Art?
What piece of advice? Um, Ask for help sooner. Honestly, don't be afraid to ask for help, because there's people out there, like I said, that want to see you win, and when they see the potential in you, they want to. So I guess I would say accept it more, because that's something where it's like you want to accept it, but you're like, is this really happening? Is it genuine? But sometimes you need it. So that's the advice I wish I had gotten. It's just like, even though you're scared, if you see somebody's genuine, don't push them away. That's the advice I wish I had in the beginning, because I kind of had to just get very aggressive positivity to be like, okay, I get it. When it
Give
comes to
people
you, yes, I'll lean on you. Yes. So,
give people a chance first.
yeah.
Give them a chance. Lastly, for listeners who might be doubting their own abilities, what's your best encouragement to keep going?
I guess it's from a friend that told me recently, is that sometimes that validation from others doesn't matter. You have to go within yourself and say that you're good enough, because you always are. It doesn't matter what people say. You always are, especially if there's something that you're working towards and you're genuine about it. Reminding yourself every day that you are good enough, no matter what people tell you.
Thank you. Sometimes we're gonna have those dark days, but it's nice to have someone in your corner that tell you we're gonna get through the storm, no matter how bad it may look now. But
Yeah.
it's all gonna die down later in the end if you just keep pushing. You get knocked down, you pick yourself up, and you keep moving.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. Um, but anyway, I think that's just about that. We talked a lot here. Anyway, this is Anime Ink Art. Please go check out some of her work. She's going to be at Anime New York City. So if you're there, these upcoming 2 weeks, make sure you go check her out. Okay.
I'll be deaf to kids, so say hi.
There you go. So